Hi, my name is Nick DiFrancesco, and today I'll be talking to you about unethical treatment of animals. Two instances where we see animals being treated unethically is in the laboratory, being used as test subjects, and in the zoos when they're held captive beyond their will. Science, in general, has changed our perspective of how we treat animals significantly over the years. As a human race, realize that animals are becoming more and more sentient, intelligent, and conscious, we are adapting to that and trying to take that into consideration by moving from an anthropocentric way of thinking to a biocentric. In other words, my thesis that will be argued is that although we humans are conscious of this research, we do still treat these animals very poorly and unethically. Two aspects where we see this, especially in test subjects, where we see animals being used as test subjects in laboratories, and in zoos, where they're held captive. Animals that are kept in zoos that are under captivity are obviously held there against their will. Although there is a progression by zoos to try and become more and more progressive in their ideology, meaning that they actually do take into consideration how animals are being treated, how animals want to be treated according to their physiology and psychology, and especially that they want to maintain species and protect them from extinction, protect them from disease, protect them from a bunch of external factors that might affect them in the environment, and in a controlled environment protect them from. Although that is goals of some zoos, that's not the goal of every zoo, because it is argued also that every zoo might have different goals. Although a zoo might want to protect animals, at the end of the day, it is something that is put forward to make profit, and profit is the end and be all result that a zoo wants. And although there are zoos that are capable of taking care of all these needs that animals have, and there are zoos that are fully committed to that, not every zoo will have those capabilities and those capacities to take care of every single animal like they should be doing. At the end of the day, it's still all about profit. And when it comes to the idea of using animals as test subjects in laboratories, we see that although there might be ethical issues with it, we do see that there might be ethical arguments supporting it, because although sentient life is all valued, there are different levels to each sentient life based on the quality of that life. Therefore, some animals who are used as test subjects might not have a good standard of living, or might be only used for that to help other animals or other demographics of sentient species survive and progress and have more of a fuller life. Obviously, this is obviously backed up by science, and science is obviously something that's clearly directly influencing the train of thought people have. If test laboratories are trying to incorporate ethics into how they're progressing with their research, and zoos are obviously trying to, um, in retrospect, take care of these animals and try and aid them rather than just put them on display and make profit, science obviously has a significant level of influence to change people's minds and change the global mindset and change everybody collectively as the human race to accept every other species as something sentient, something complex, something that has cognitive abilities, something that is obviously conscious of what is going on. For example, when we look at dolphins in one study, we see that dolphins are actually capable of planning behavior much longer in the future than anticipated. That we believe that they were able to. To to clarify that, it just means that they can look at a task in front of them and they can plan their behavior to an extent that makes sure that they are prepared to take the course of action, be more and more, in other words, efficient and have a better outcome to what they're going to do. And that is all because they are able to plan their behavior. Same way that when a human would wake up, we wake up in the idea of being able to plan our day out. Same thing for dolphins. They're able to look at tasks and realize that, and through memory, because they have such a strong memory, remember stuff to do and remember how important it is for them to plan out their day. We also see this in a study where elephants are involved in being able to, where elephants are able to show signs of PTSD and other severe psychological disorders. And that's something that we've never ever thought that any other animal was capable of until we did the research and found out that, hey, if elephants are young or elephants are old, whether they're separated from their mother or experience a traumatic event, whether they were taken out of their environment by force, or whether they witnessed the death of a family relative, this will affect an elephant's mind very, very, very severely, and there's actually psychological consequences with that, showing that they actually suffer PTSD and other psychological disorders based on that, and that just proves that these animals were believed to have no feelings, no cognitive ability, no emotion, no sense of personality, are actually very, very, very similar to how we are. In other words, we should say we're similar to how they are. In the animal kingdom, we really do realize that now through science, and that is obviously directly influencing how we look at anthropocentrism and biocentrism. Anthropocentrism is obviously it's the state in which we as humans believe we put our best interest first. Meaning, hey, if I have all these animals, I'm going to make a zoo and try and make money, not to enclose them and try and rehabilitate them and kind of help the species and release them back into their natural environment. Biocentrism is obviously understanding that there are a lot of external factors involved in taking in the whole environment and the whole ecosystem, that benefit and that best interest, and putting that forward instead of ours. And obviously that's something that's slowly changing but is constantly changing. That is obviously leading also to animal welfare movements such as PETA, which is putting forward many, 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 many investigations that are documented, and that is bringing stuff into the social media, bringing stuff into the media, and it's obviously getting to a broader audience than just animal activists. And that means that everybody at home is able to be an animal activist. Everybody at home sees how these markets and industries are treating animals unfairly and unethically. And I think that is something that is obviously very apparent because PETA has made great progress throughout the years and has influenced many other movements to use that media-based, so to speak, movement. Also, there are obviously there are also other actions that can be taken, such as laws and other judicial applications that are obviously being mandated in first world countries and eventually will stem down, because once a whole vision is changed and a whole ideology is changed, that will change every other aspect of that whole issue. Personally, I think that one thing I'm trying to do to help the unethical treatment of animals is to wear no fur, to wear no leather, to try and not promote industries that are all about raising animals to kill them. And I think that it's okay to have animals and to benefit from them. But I think the whole idea of raising an animal for it to die, so to speak, to born to die, is a bit cruel. In conclusion, I think that we could see that in today's society that a lot of people are really changing their train of thought, and I think that although that is happening, we are still behind and not where we need to be at that level. Therefore, confirming my thesis that we do have research and scientific studies backing up the fact that animals are obviously psychologically advanced, but we as a whole are not doing what we need to do to protect these animals, for the justice of ethics and for the well-being of our ecosystem. Although we might want to be biocentric, and some of us might have the ideology that we are already biocentric, the truth is that we are still anthropocentric, but it is slowly changing to biocentric. Thank you very much.